Hello, Davi here, and today we have a sketch session, and yeah, I'll try to do one a day. I mean, that's sort of the intention of the art process series. It's really for me to be like accountable to myself, because it's kind of sucky to see kind of missed days whenever I look at the posting schedule, or whenever I see my like video feed. It's kind of sad if I miss a day, so I'm sort of inclined to not miss one, right? And to want to keep that streak going. And as of this recording, it's like 9:58 p.m. on my end. So I want to make sure I do like at least a sheet a day whenever I do this thing. Because you need to have some kind of quota to be somewhat consistent, right? Instead of constantly like color picking this, like each color, I can just pick this, because whenever I color pick here, it does get lighter and lighter because the brush strokes are not full black. Like it does depend on the pen pressure and all. And I was watching this video by QR Beats. Hopefully, I think that's her channel name. She was kind of doing these this presentation on like facial expressions. I do recommend you watch that video, but you know, when she was doing her demos, kind of in the last part when she was trying to kind of apply the theories she mentioned into like 3 sketches, I was so kind of happy that, or I was not, it was nice to see that she wasn't, or it was nice to see the iterations. Shit, wrong brush. It was nice to see the iterations, and like she does, or fuck, what am I saying? Like, she did not get it in one try, and oftentimes I have this thing where sometimes I feel like I have to get it right the first try, but it's so unrealistic. And I think it's because of people like Kim Jung-gi. He does have, or that kind of way of drawing where you draw it one time, and it's not just him, because there are plenty of people who can kind of, obviously it's from years of experience, right? But they can kind of draw characters very quickly without having to go back and forth, and it's just nice to see, right? And it's very impressive. But if you don't have that experience, like, why force yourself, you know? So here I'm actually trying to draw this character from the Elusive Samurai anime. And I think you need to find the right sort of tools to be able to, I think what you want when you're sketching and you're trying to find maybe your style, or you just want to build the habit of making art, you want to find what's comfortable. And you know, mentioning the QR Bits artist, I forgot her name, I think that's the channel name, hopefully, if I recall. She does sort of draw directly, like she doesn't do things in one go. I mean, obviously there's the attempt, right? But she's not afraid to like go back and forth to adjust things and fix things to kind of get the emotion she wants. So to me, that's very appealing. See, when I click that edge, sometimes it ends up a gray. So you want to make sure you're color picking the right thing. I mean, I can switch to the eraser tool, but sometimes I forget. You know, I guess I'm so used to painting over my mistakes that I tend to forget to use the eraser. It does. I still don't feel as good because I can't really draw from imagination. So that's sort of the, I guess, my kind of dream in a way. Because it's just so cool being able to make your own characters and shit. Right. And I think if you're comfortable with sketching, like making mistakes, making iterations, if you can get over that hump of trying to get it right, and you're very comfortable with just, you know, jotting down your brush strokes or your pen strokes, and sort of figuring out the thing you want to make as you go, I think you're in a good place. So I was kind of struggling with the eyes here, so I decided to just block it out with black because it's just easier that way. Like my IQ for where to put like the facial expressions or the facial features is still pretty low. What I mean by that is I don't have that intuitive like knowledge yet that really comes, or yeah, it does come with experience. So obviously, since I don't have much experience, I'm gonna be a bit slow, I guess. And number one, slow, and also, well, yeah, I'm slow with reference, but I'm also not gonna be able to do it at all without reference. So and what's so cool when you're like referencing like anime characters from like shows is it's a good practice because there's the artists who've designed the character, they know the shapes or the key shapes that make up the character, you know. I mean, you can do this with like you know, comics, so like Superman, Batman, like, you know, the general shapes of these characters, right? So if you just know which parts to like really show, that's usually enough to be kind of understood as that guy, right? Or as that character. So you need to find what those essential key shapes are, like the silhouette, maybe the shape of the hair, you know, stuff like that. So that's me drawing in the black first and then adding in the white. Excusez-moi. I wonder if maybe I can try, maybe this will be easier if I put it under monochrome. Monochrome, right here. So it's pure black and white only. Right? So it avoids, so I'll avoid picking out the grays. We'll try it. Fuck it. Same brush. Obviously your brushes will look different under this mode. So I'm fine with it, I think. And the eyes are kind of big. Ugh, disgusting. Jeez. Ugh. He looks like a freaking monster here. Oh, it's over. Should I quit art? Alright. I'm not really feeling this freaking... You know what? I don't like it. My bad. I'm gonna go back. It sucks ass. Oh shit. Oh shit. I think I should not have clicked the apply something. Oh my god. Is this thing even salvageable? This sucks. Because if you know the character, obviously you'll know if I'm doing a good job or not. Because if it doesn't look like the character in any kind of way, then you'll know I fucked up. And besides, I can always make a new layer, right? And yeah, I really want to focus, I guess, on the face, because that's kind of the key thing that I really want to work on. Because, and you know, sometimes I procrastinate by working on the body. I mean, I can't help it, but I mean, yeah, that's also something I want to work on. But obviously, like, it's the face that I really have no idea what to work with or work on. Like, experience is absolutely pretty much a zero, you know. So, and it's obviously the first thing people see anyway. And even if you don't draw the body, if you have like a nice solid looking face, it's gonna get some like attention. I mean, it just looks good, you know, being able to like draw a nice face. Ugh, my fucking god. This sucks. So if you're struggling with your art, don't worry. I'm on the same freaking boat. Right? And I was watching this video also by Viura something. It's a somewhat of a big channel, 2K or 200K plus subs. And she was talking about like how to find your style, or some ways, like 8 ways I think to find your style. And like one of her struggles apparently was actually relying too much on the photograph or on the reference photo. And I still have the same thing, or the same issue. Ugh, jeez, I feel like I want to restart the sketch somehow. Because I think me trying to copy it is actually kind of ruining it. Let me just write this down, because I know this is important. Like, I know copying works, because you do get to inherit some of their like proportions and stuff like that. So copying is there, but also I think I mentioned this before in one of my shit videos. Caricatures. If you can find a way to caricaturize what you're seeing, I think that can also help. So maybe I'll try this. Now I'm using kind of an inked sort of brush here. Basically, it's a very bold so I tried to add a midpoint. Maybe that can help me sort of not be so weird. So basically, is you want to get the general like shapes. I mean, I did it here with the body, but I think it's the face that I'm really struggling with. So let me just jot down the body here just a little bit, and just block in the major sort of right. There's a sword here, the samurai sword with the katana. We have the sleeves. And I want to do this with less lines as possible. Well, not less possible, but basically the essential lines. Right? The gesture. right? So it's basically the same thing. Now for the face. Fuck. See? Instead of erasing, I do have an eraser mode. Right, but sometimes I'm just used to painting over stuff. So let me just block in maybe the edge of the head, but also like let me just add a black sort of thing here. So I can color pick quickly. So the hairstyle is kind of like this. It's sort of like a triangle. Like the face is engulfed or limited by this sort of triangle thing, right? The hair is kind of like that. Oh shit. Ugh. Fuck me. And a bit of the ears over here. Oh, it's actually kind of low. You see, when you're drawing anime, it's like you're not always following real world proportions. You do have to, like, you can and you ought to break the rules a little bit. Another word for caricature is cartoon. Shit, that's too thick. Yeah. Cartoon. And I think having this mindset helps you to not be so realistic, I guess. Let me just crop this thing and extend it out. Ugh. See this? I can just erase this or paint over it. Clean up the edge a little bit. See? This is actually much better for some reason. Right? Kinda. Yes, it's not proportionate. It's not the, oh my god. It's not the best. Oops, see, I selected a gray by accident, by the way. This shit is hard. So is this good? Yeah, I want a bit of that accuracy. Wait, fuck, what's my goal here? Is it to draw just a typical anime face? To get someone's likeness? Or to get a specific character's likeness? That's kind of the issue. Sometimes you don't even know what your goal is when you're doing these sorts of like art sessions. And sometimes maybe you don't always have to, for as long as you're drawing or painting or you're doing your art. I think that's more than enough sometimes. Obviously having that deliberateness in your work or with your intentions is important once in a while, but that can lead to like overthinking, and you know, you're sort of thinking like if you're doing the most optimal thing, that kind of mindset of trying to optimize everything Sometimes it's a bit too mechanical, so you want to be careful with that. And remember that art is a bit, it's sort of intuitive. And you don't have to necessarily do things in a systemized way. Oh yeah, when you're drawing with like this kind of thing where it's black and white, like ink, I think your line weights do matter. It can really change like the way something looks. And you can change it. For me, I think I'm better changing, or I can change the line weight better when I do like a line, right? And then I paint over it or erase it. I think that's how I do it better. Instead of relying on just like pen pressure, you know, like heavy and then light, heavy and then light. I think that's harder for me to do. Some artists are more into that. And there's plenty of them like online. You know, they do share their time-lapse videos and stuff. So you need to find what works for you. So I think I got the vibe a little bit. I also want to figure out like how the cheeks are done. Because there's usually like a bowl, like it protrudes out a little bit on the side where the mouth is. So it cuts into the head a bit, then it protrudes out. It's too much actually. See that gray? You have to be careful. And this is the subtle part that you really have to pay attention to. So where's the nose? It's usually somewhere there, the midpoint, I guess. Yeah, it looks kind of like the guy, right? Let me just draw the hair out here. I'm still not satisfied with like the edge of this thing. So we have the eye here, right? The eyebrow actually kind of goes like that. So there's actually a bit more white here. And I also like the way the eyes are done. The anime eyes here. It's so cool because for each like anime show, the way they do their eyes for their characters, it's so unique and very specific to the show. Or to each kind of, to each, to each show. Kind of like that. Not the most accurate, but it gets the job done. think the eyes are a little high. What if I tried using the liquify tool just a little bit, just to push it like down? There you go. Not bad. I think that's way better. See? Way better. This sketch right here is way better than this one. Ugh, look at this. The fucking easy. So black and white is not bad, because you can solve things easier this way, I believe, instead of the grays. It's kind of hard because number one, it does get a bit messy, but also it's hard to quickly define things because you always have to like keep painting over something. Like you need multiple strokes instead of like one color, either black or white. Let's expand this and try a different one. Oh yeah, the Viara. I still can't remember her name. I'll link it in the description below. These two channels. You know what? Fuck, I need to write it down. So I'm opening my notes here. You can't see it, but it's there. I just need to. It's the QR bit something. QR bits and the Viara something yeah, whatever. Yeah, she did mention that you don't have to like a sketch is still like a. I think that's one of the takeaways I got. A sketch is still a drawing or something like that. Basically, it's not like wasted. It's still something. So don't be so like judgy to yourself if you haven't done like a full painting, or if you could only do like a 15-minute drawing or sketch. It's still something, right? So don't be too judgy on yourself if you do end up yeah, it's knowing where the face ends or where anything ends or begins, because that's really what makes or breaks your like drawing or illustration. Okay, not so bad, I guess. Could be better, but fuck it. Yeah, I think black and white is kind of cool. So you do need to experiment. I mean, this is great, but I think it's possible, but I think it just takes a little more time when you do this. For me, anyway, like gray with some opacity, where pen pressure is. Basically, it's not a solid paint. I think it takes a little more work for me, because erasing stuff or painting over your previous strokes is just gonna take more strokes compared to, say, a solid color. In this case, it's like black against white. So we'll try something different. We'll try some pen. So basically it's still black and white. But it's still a different kind of brush, I think. Do I like this pen? This one is the most fluid one. It's very sensitive to pen pressure. Should I use it? I don't know. How about this one? Brush pen? Or maybe gel pen? The thing with this is it takes so long. Like it's more, you have to use like your contour to sort of block in the shapes instead of using like black and white. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna erase this. I'll try using the lasso fill tool. It's been a while since I've used the lasso fill tool. I'm gonna hit this color, obviously black, right? I'm gonna do the same thing. Can I quickly sketch this character with a lasso fill tool? So here, it's really more about playing with negative shapes here. But you do need like serious, or at least basic observational skills. If you can't break down an image via shapes, you're gonna have a hard time using this sort of thing. Or using this technique. Right? And you need to be smart too, like what should be in white and what should be in black. If you can do something in one like selection, then the better, you know. Fuck. You know, my elbow doesn't feel as good because I think the gout was flaring up. Even like 2 days ago, a day ago, my right knee just became so. I started to have that gout thing again. Like I wasn't able to walk, and it hurt so bad. And you know, at this point, I feel like I'm abusing my painkillers. You know, Advil. It's not good to always rely on them, but I can't help it. Like I literally can't do anything if I don't use those painkillers. It is kind of sucky, you know, having health issues. But I know I'm not the only one, and some people have it harder, some people have it worse. I know some say that's a bad mentality to have, but you gotta find something to be grateful about. It feels wrong to say that, you know, like at least I'm not them, that kind of mentality. But what else am I? Like, what the hell is my choice, you know? See, not bad. Drawing the sleeves here, kind of like that. But this whole thing is actually in white. Ooh, my bad. You can still use contours, right? But oh my god, see that? Oh, shadow artist. My elbow just. If you know that kind of throbbing feeling when you have like, I'm not even sure, maybe it's a mix of like gout, tendonitis or something. Or, you know, I think it's sometimes my nerves too. I can't tell if it's my nerves or my bones. Like they feel cold sometimes, or they get cold. And it's sort of like this stinging sort of feeling like. I don't know, I think it's genetic or something. You know, I used to have asthma as a kid. Asthma as a kid. I mean, I still have like sinus problems here and there. Like, it's easy for me to like sneeze. I do have that kind of allergy, but I don't have. I pretty much lost the whole asthma thing. Thank God. You know, at least I got better in some way. Because Jesus. Right? There you go. A dot for the nose. Might be a little too high. There you go. Now for the eyes. Can I do the eyes? Let me start with... It's actually kind of in the midpoint of the face. So I'll start with the blacks first. I think I learned this from one of my earlier attempts using the lasso fill tool. I think I was trying to draw. I also did this kind of exercise, but the anime was I forgot. Nier Automata. I was trying to draw 2B, and it was mostly 2B, the female character of that show, but also a bit of 9S. So the eyebrows of this guy, specific character right here, forgot his name, but he's sort of the main character here. And then I'll erase with white, kind of like that. So the heavier parts, basically the black part, it's hardly in the lower part, and the side that's close to the nose is not being represented. So basically it's the upper part of the eye and further away from the center of the face. So it's on the far left, the far right, and all of the... Let me just fucking... Sorry. Let me just do this. This sign pen here. It's kind of like this. So it's on the top part, right? And then on the side. That's what I've noticed. And for the bottom part of the eye, they don't really show it. And this side doesn't exist. Or it's hardly there, right? So just something to take note of when doing this kind of thing. Back to my lasso fill. If you don't know what to do sometimes, if you don't know what to create, just study. It's always a good sort of a... It's a good fallback. Now obviously sometimes we get stuck with the studies. It's kind of a common thing in art, but you know, it is what it is, right? Just learn to cope, I guess, or learn to not do it as much. See that? I selected a gray. There's actually an ear over here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Do you see how low that ear is? You would assume it would be higher, but you know, there are no rules. I mean, there are, but you can break them and push them a little bit. Because again, anime is more of like a caricature or a cartoon. So keep that in mind so you won't get too stuck with the eyes are kind of big, so I want to make sure I show that off. Some of that fold. Yeah, I feel like the eyes are a bit cross-eyed here for some reason. Should I erase this part? Okay. I think that works. Add the white part here. Right. Draw a slight circle for the center of the pupil. And then on the bottom part, there's a bit more like shading. So some hatching, just a little bit of hatching there. I could zoom in, but that's not really what I want to do. I want to be able to solve the big problems from afar. Oh yeah. Kind of hard to do this with a pen tablet. I usually like using the lasso fill sort of tool on a pen display because it just feels more natural for me. But it's not impossible to use a pen tablet. Use what you've got, right? Interesting. So let me just add some like, wait, ooh, kind of like that. One major strand here. Okay. Add a bit of that white over here. Add a bit of white over here. See, that's not bad. I think so. It's possible, but it's actually, I think it's quite faster because you can fill in a lot of shapes so quickly. So when it comes to comfort, this one may be the most comfortable for me. But I do know that using a pen tablet and not a pen display is kind of stressing me out. So that's kind of the downside. I do need to use more of a pen display. So that's something just for me, so you need to figure out what works for you. And I think the reason why I don't know why, but it just feels easier if I use it with a pen display. So I'm really gonna buy a replacement pen because I've mentioned this plenty of times before in my videos, but the pen from my XPPen 22E Pro is not fixed. And it's basically glitching on me, so hopefully if I buy a new one, a replacement pen, stylus, hopefully I can use, hopefully it won't glitch like the pen I have now. So So there's that. However, for this one, let me just bring this guy. It was easier because I think the black and white is... You know what? Let me do this. Let me just fix it up a bit. Yeah, also using Liquify tool is definitely a big plus for me. The eyes are a bit close, so let me just put it a little bit to the right. See? Looks way younger. Yep, more on point. I was saying something. Yeah, I think this was using Liquify is definitely a time saver, and it helps you fix instead of painting over stuff and adjusting, you can fix a lot of things way faster with the Liquify tool. So make sure you employ that. I'm not sure. I think Photoshop you can use Warp, so you can try that. Obviously, for Clip Studio Paint people, the Liquify is definitely something that you cannot avoid, and you must. I think you have to use because it's so convenient, right? So anyway, for this one, let me just for this one, easier to do on a pen tablet, but like I don't really mind, kind of. Yeah, even though this works way more visually for me, I do need to know I need to change my tool. But for this one, I can use my pen tablet, and this one, it's okay, but it does. I feel like I would spend way more time working on this, or with this kind of technique where I use a semi-transparent brush, where there's a bit more gray, and you have to kind of go back and forth to make a solid color. So I think for quickness, I think going this solid route is the better choice for me. Either this or this. What's my time here? 48 minutes? Okay, 48 minutes. I'll try one more just to see, because I feel like I was sort of painting here. Was I painting here? Because it's mostly shape, right? So it's a very different approach from, say, this one. Very similar in that they're both black and white, but I feel like I drew more here. Fuck it, I need to try something else. Let me just extend the canvas just a little more to the right. Around here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here. Oh, by the way, I actually quickly paused the video. Number one, to take a short break, but also I had to drink some Advil, because my elbow joint, right arm is, thankfully the wrist issue is mostly gone. It's not fully recovered, but I don't really feel like the throbbing sort of joint, nerve, whatever pain. But let me tell you. Let me fucking tell you. Ooh, my elbow is freaking like mad at me for some reason. So we'll try using this. I'm using a pencil, so maybe this is gonna be a good thing for me. So I'll try drawing it more than using like shapes. I mean, I'm still thinking of shapes, but I'm illustrating it through contours. I'm basically blocking out the shape, not with a lasso fill, but with some strokes, right? It may take a while, obviously, and it may require a lot more erasing, but there is sort of a fluidity to it, I feel. Okay, this character is actually kind of low. Like, you know that kind of pain where you can feel it sort of throbbing. But there's the two kinds of throbbing. There's like a pulse because of the blood, and you can feel the blood pulsating. But there's also like a very cold, sort of like you're being stinged kind of pain. Like it feels like a nerve thing. I'm not sure if it's nerve or bone. Sometimes I feel that way when I'm sick or something. I've always had that when I was a kid. Do I have like a condition? Like a bone condition? Or a nerve condition? Like I'm just sensitive to shit? That would suck so much. But you know, you have to do or deal with the cards you've been dealt with, and even though it's sucky, you just have to suck it up. Be a big boy or a big girl, and you know. Oh, I can feel it. Oh my god. But even though I feel this way, I just can't help but draw or paint or keep at this thing. It really shows you, like, whenever you're, let's say you're in pain, or maybe you're sad, or maybe things are not going as well in other aspects of your life, but you end up still trying to draw or paint or make art. I think it really shows you that you are somewhat passionate about this thing. Like there's something there, and you just have to own up to it. You know? Your relationship to art isn't always going to be like pure love, I think. I mean, it's there, there's passion, right? But sometimes it's also a form of escapism, I feel like. And it's gonna be a mix of different things. Sometimes it's more of an obligation, maybe. You just feel like you have a responsibility to do it. I don't know. It could be that, or here's me using the eraser. Back to my pencil. I used to have like a separate shortcut for like my pencils and pens. They're in one sort of section, and then the other brushes. But I think it's more convenient to put it all in one place, right? So you have my pen. I have my pencils, my pens, and everything else. So when I hit the it's basically the second button in my stylus pen. It just switches either to the brush, like this, all of this, or my eraser. That's sort of my new system. Because I think I want to employ the eraser more, especially when I'm doing these sort of things, where I'm not painting. It makes sense if I skip the eraser when I'm doing this, because I can just erase, quote unquote, erase over something by just painting over it with the white background. But when you're drawing, it's you can't like just select, because your brush is very small anyway, so it's not gonna work as well. It does take longer, but then again, I was reviewing this guy. Oh yes, one of you mentioned his name is Jorge, or it's pronounced Jorge, not George. It's Jorge Jimenez. I knew actually that I had the hunch that was how it was pronounced, but I sort of gave in to the George pronunciation, so my bad. So it's Jorge. It's Jorge Jimenez. And I forgot to mention, and one of you in the comments mentioned it, he is pretty jacked. He looks like a Chad, by the way. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like he basically like he can reference his own like muscles and shit. No DD. But it's so impressive. Like, Jesus, is this guy a freaking Chad? Like, what the fuck? It's so over. But then again, you know, it's sort of inspirational. It really shows you that you don't really have, like the commenter said, or one of the commenters said, you don't really have an excuse. And it's sort of inspirational. And sometimes I remember seeing too Ross Draws. I think he was in a beach or something. He was doing a video, and he was in the beach somewhere in I don't know where. And he was actually kind of fit, and you're like, oh shit. Like, he actually takes care of his body a bit. Because that's sort of the stereotype of artists, right? We're kind of indoorsy. We don't go out as much, so we tend to be somewhat... Either we're fat or we're skinny fat. So basically anything that's related to weakness, that's kind of what we are. So obviously we need to break that stereotype, right? And but yeah. So I've noticed drawing is way harder. Oh my god. And I did mention a few videos ago in the art process series that I need to hold my pen closer. So basically I'm kind of close to the nib instead of being a bit farther away. You'll end up being a bit more gestural and more loose the further you are from the tip of the pen, so that's great in that regard. But sometimes you do lose that accuracy when you're too far from the nib of your pen. So you want to make sure that not as good. Might need some work here and there, but you know, not bad. I do like the pencil look though. It looks really pencily, right? It has like its own charm, even if it's messy. It's like the lines going over each other. It just adds a bit more fluff. My mother of Christ. Erase this part. Yeah, I feel like I need to fix the face a bit more. Oh my god. It's just one line, but sometimes you're like, oh my fucking Christ. Like, it can't be too low and it can't be too high. That's fine. What if I use a liquify tool? Because I feel like the eyes are still a bit too close. Like, I need to open up the eyes a little more, kind of like this. Not too much. Sorry. Oh my god, what am I doing wrong? Why is it? I mean, it's okay, but it's somewhere. Okay. I guess that's just what I needed. Just needed to be kind of like that, maybe. Let me hit the erase tool here, and I want to erase this part of the eye. It's a bit strong. There you go. Okay, not bad. I can sketch this way. You know how I learned how to render those eyes? I did a video on this. It did not get as much views, but thankfully one of you mentioned. Hopefully I did respond, but they found it useful. Like one of the commenters said they found the whole eye art process video episode was useful and very practical and straight to the point. And I'm glad it helped, because for me I was like surprised, like, oh shit, is it this kind of easy? Oh shit. So they use a different kind of pencil here. Mechanical pencil. I don't know, kind of weird. I think I'll just stick to the, how about this, flat? Make the brush a little bigger. Oh yeah. Whoa, artist. So I'm using two kinds of pencils. So it's really more, I'm more like shading right now. I'm not really drawing anything. It's more like rendering at this point. Specifically the shadows. Let me use the... Fuck it. Oh, show shadow here. Not the best hair rendering, but not bad for an experiment, right? Okay, pencil sketch is not too bad. Okay, that's it for this. Oh shit, 1 hour and 5 minutes. Not bad, not bad. I mean, I'm not. If I stuck to this, it could have still become good, but I did kind of quit. And let me just move this guy just a little bit. Just a little bit. Over here. There you okay. There you go. So hopefully you learned something from this. What's the takeaway from this episode? Experiment with the techniques so you'll find what works for you. It helps in definitely being able to find your own style. But also don't be afraid to make so many mistakes. You don't have to do things and finish drawings in one go. You can. It's better if you go back and forth. It will be messy and expect it to be messy. And I think that's where you'll... Yeah, like in that messy chaos, you want to find like an approach that makes sense to you, that feels more comfortable to you. Like, yeah, you're going to challenge with any sort of subject, or it's going to be somewhat challenging, but there are methods, techniques that are going to be easier for you than others. So you want to make sure you find that out. For me, I do know. Let me just do this. Oh my god. Where's my pen? Let me just hide this guy. Yeah, I do know this was kind of okay, but I did struggle, and I do know I am a bit slow when using the pen tablet when I'm using the lasso fill tool. And I do know using a pen display for the lasso fill tool, it's going to be easier for me when I do this kind of thing. This is going to be way easier even with the pen tablet because it's in black and white. I feel like I struggle more when I do this. I mean, this does work. I do have an episode where I tried using the same brush where there's a bit more opacity in it. Basically, there's a bit more gray. You can build up this way, but it just takes a bit longer. So time is going to be an issue. If I want something quick, which I am pretty impatient, I'm going to have to go for something like this, definitely. So black and white is going to be easier for me when using a pen tablet, and faster as well. But I can also use like pencil for a pen tablet. Right? I still need to figure out like a technique for like shading and stuff, but for jotting down like the major or like the quick concept, I can do quick concepts with the pencil quickly. But I'm going to struggle a bit more with the rendering maybe. For now anyway, because I don't really have experience with rendering in pencil as much, especially in the digital sort of medium. But doing the line work, I think I'm pretty fast with it. But I have to use like the eraser and everything to kind of cut or remove things, because it's not like the lasso fill tool where I'm using a black or a solid brush where I can just paint over the mistakes with the white from the white background. Here I do have to use two tools, and that's going to be the brush tool, and to erase stuff I'm going to have to use the eraser tool along with that and go back and forth. I'm starting to get a little bit used to it, so I'm not too like annoyed with it, but it will take a slightly longer time, I think. And maybe I should not I should maybe skip the shading, right? And yeah, maybe I should skip this shading and just focus on like the major shapes, the major contours, and then from there I can just maybe do an underpainting with like the lasso fill or any kind of solid brush, and just leave the line work as it is. So yeah, try this experiment. Pick one subject and try to draw it in different ways and see what works for you. Look for speed, what's fast for you. Look for comfort, what's comfortable to you or for you. Take note of the tools. Are you using a pen tablet or a pen display? Which one feels more comfortable? Which technique feels more comfortable for each sort of tool? Take note of the tools within your software. For example, I've used like a solid brush, a brush that has a bit more, a solid brush, a brush that has a bit more opacity, a pencil brush, right, and a lasso fill tool. So experiment with this, and hopefully you can get closer to finding like a method, an approach, a methodology that works for you. So yeah, that's it for this episode. Hopefully it helps in some way, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.